It's 1943. The world is engulfed in the flames of World War II, a conflict that has spread across continents and oceans, affecting millions of lives. The skies over Europe are a chaotic mess of fire and metal as Allied and Axis forces clash in a deadly dance of aerial combat. The roar of engines and the shriek of falling bombs are a constant reminder of the war's relentless grip on the world. The skies over Europe are a chaotic mess of fire and metal. Fighter planes engage in dogfights, weaving through clouds of smoke and flak. Bombers fly in tight formations, their payloads ready to unleash destruction on enemy targets below. The air is thick with the smell of burning fuel and the sound of anti-aircraft fire. Pilots and crew members face death at every turn, their lives hanging by a thread as they navigate the treacherous skies. World War II is raging and the world's future is uncertain. Cities lie in ruins, their streets filled with rubble and the echoes of past battles. Families are torn apart and nations are pushed to their breaking points. The outcome of the war is far from decided, and every mission, every battle could tip the scales in favor of one side or the other. Amidst this chaos, a different story unfolds in the skies above. Amidst the loud roar of plane engines and the scary shriek of falling bombs, a different story unfolds. This is the story of the brave young men who flew the famous B-17 Flying Fortress, facing unbelievable danger to protect freedom. These men were more than soldiers, they were sky pioneers, pushing the limits of technology and how much humans could endure. They faced freezing cold, not enough oxygen, and constant enemy fire. This is the story of the brave young men who flew the famous B-17 Flying Fortress, facing unbelievable danger to protect freedom. The B-17, with its distinctive shape and formidable firepower, became a symbol of American air power. Its crews, often just out of their teens, were tasked with flying deep into enemy territory, delivering their bombs with precision and returning home safely. Each mission was a test of their skill, courage, and endurance. These men were more than soldiers, they were sky pioneers, pushing the limits of technology and how much humans could endure. They operated at altitudes where the air was thin and the temperatures were brutally cold. They relied on oxygen masks to breathe and heated suits to keep from freezing. The constant threat of enemy fighters and anti-aircraft fire added to the stress and danger of their missions. Yet they persevered, driven by a sense of duty and camaraderie. They faced freezing cold, not enough oxygen, and constant enemy fire. The B-17s were often riddled with bullet holes, their crews wounded or killed, yet they kept flying. Their bravery and sacrifice helping the Allies win. The bond between the crew members was unbreakable, forged in the crucible of war. They relied on each other for survival, knowing that their lives depended on the skill and courage of their fellow airmen. But they kept flying, their bravery and sacrifice helping the Allies win. Each successful mission brought them closer to victory, but also took a toll on their bodies and minds. The stress of combat, the loss of friends, and the constant danger left scars that would last a lifetime. Yet they found moments of joy and camaraderie, celebrating their successes and mourning their losses together. This is the story of one such mission, a scary tale of survival against impossible odds. A mission where a B-17, heavily damaged and with wounded crew members, struggled to make it back to base. The plane limped through the sky, its engines sputtering, as the crew worked together to keep it aloft. Their determination and teamwork turned what seemed like certain doom into a miraculous escape. It shows the unbreakable spirit of these airmen and reminds us of the human cost of war. Their story is a testament to the courage and resilience of those who fought in the skies above war-torn Europe. It is a reminder of the sacrifices made by so many to protect the freedoms we enjoy today. As we remember their bravery, we honor their legacy and the enduring spirit of those who served. The Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress was more than just a plane. It was a symbol of American power. Designed in the 1930s, it quickly became one of the most iconic aircraft of World War II. Its robust design and formidable firepower made it a favorite among the crews who flew it. The B-17 was not just a machine, it was a beacon of hope and a testament to American engineering prowess. For the struggling Allies, the sight of a B-17 Flying Fortress overhead was a sign of hope and resilience. It represented the industrial might of the United States and the unwavering commitment to the fight against tyranny. The B-17's presence in the skies was a morale booster for both soldiers on the front lines and civilians back home. With its 4 powerful engines and heavily armed turrets, the B-17 was a formidable weapon in the skies over Europe. It could fly at high altitudes, making it difficult for enemy fighters to reach. The B-17's defensive capabilities were unmatched, with multiple .50 caliber machine guns positioned around the aircraft to fend off attacks from all directions. Built to fly long distances and drop bombs with precision, the B-17 was a key player in the strategic bombing campaigns that targeted enemy infrastructure and military installations. Despite facing heavy anti-aircraft fire and the constant threat of enemy fighters, the B-17 crews pressed on with their missions, demonstrating incredible bravery and determination. Often referred to as a flying porcupine because of its numerous .50 caliber machine guns, the B-17 was well equipped to defend itself. These guns were manned by dedicated crew members who were trained to operate them under the most challenging conditions. The B-17's defensive armament made it a tough target for enemy fighters, contributing to its reputation as a resilient and reliable aircraft. Manning these guns were young men like Staff Sergeant Eugene Moran, who volunteered to be a tail gunner on the B-17. These airmen were often in their late teens or early 20s, yet they faced the dangers of aerial combat with remarkable courage. The tail gunner's position was one of the most vulnerable on the aircraft, requiring constant vigilance and quick reflexes to fend off enemy attacks. The job of a tail gunner was one of the most dangerous in the Air Force. These brave young men needed nerves of steel and serious bravery to face the perils of each mission. They were the last line of defense against enemy fighters, and their role was crucial in ensuring the safety of the entire crew. The legacy of the B-17 Flying Fortress and the men who flew it remains a powerful symbol of American might and determination. On November 29, 1943, the airbase was busy. The men of the 96th Bomb Group prepared for a mission to Bremen, Germany. Among them was the crew of the B-17F Rikki, Tikki, Tavi, including Staff Sergeant Eugene Moran, the tail gunner. The target was an important industrial complex that Germany needed for the war. The mission was very risky, as Bremen was heavily defended by anti-aircraft guns and German fighter planes. The airmen knew the dangers, but they were determined to finish their mission. They were fighting for their country, for freedom, and for each other. As the B-17S roared down the runway and took off, they carried the hopes and prayers of a nation. Under enemy fire, the assault on Rikki, Tikki, Tavi. As the B-17 bombers approached Bremen, the air filled with anti-aircraft fire. Black smoke exploded around the bombers, and the sky was filled with dangerous flak. The German Luftwaffe was waiting, and soon Messerschmitt Bf-109S and Focke-Wulf Fw-190S swarmed the bombers. Rikki, Tikki, Tavi was hit many times, and one of the engines caught fire. The bomber was damaged, falling behind the other bombers and becoming an easy target. Despite the chaos, Staff Sergeant Moran stayed in his tail turret looking for enemy fighters. He knew his job was to protect the bomber from attacks from behind, and he would do it no matter what. A tail gunner's duty, courage under fire. The story of a tail gunner is one of bravery, resilience, and unwavering dedication. These men were the unsung heroes of the skies, often overlooked but crucial to the success of their missions. The tail gunner's spot was one of the most exposed and dangerous on the B-17. Positioned at the very end of the aircraft, they had a panoramic view of the sky behind them. But this also meant they were the first to face incoming enemy fighters. The tail section was a vulnerable point, and enemy pilots knew this well. Alone in the tail of the plane, exposed to the weather and open to enemy fire, the tail gunner could see everything around them. The cramped conditions of the turret meant that they had to be incredibly agile and quick-thinking. The cold at high altitudes was bone-chilling, and the noise from the engines and gunfire was deafening. Yet, despite these harsh conditions, the tail gunner remained vigilant, scanning the skies for any sign of enemy aircraft. Their job was to defend the bomber from enemy fighters coming from behind. With their .50 caliber machine guns, they had to be precise and quick, often making split-second decisions that could mean the difference between life and death for the entire crew. The tail gunner's role was not just about shooting down enemy planes, it was about protecting their comrades and ensuring the success of their mission. It was a lonely and unappreciated job, but it was crucial for the survival of the bomber and its crew. The tail gunner often felt isolated, separated from the rest of the crew by the length of the aircraft. Yet they knew that their vigilance and bravery were essential. The bond between the crew members was strong, and each man relied on the others to do their part. The tail gunner's efforts were a testament to the teamwork and trust that defined these missions. Eugene Moran was a skilled and dedicated tail gunner. His commitment to his role was unwavering, and he trained rigorously to ensure he was always ready for the challenges he would face. Moran's story is a shining example of the courage and determination that defined the men who served in these perilous positions. He had trained a lot for this, and he knew it was important to stay calm under fire. The ability to remain composed in the face of danger was a crucial skill for a tail gunner. Panic could lead to mistakes, and mistakes could be fatal. Moran's training had taught him to focus, to keep his mind clear and to trust in his abilities and his equipment. As the German fighters got closer to Rikki, Tikki, Tavi, Moran's fingers moved quickly on the triggers of his .50 caliber machine guns. The roar of the guns filled the air as he aimed and fired, determined to protect his crew and his aircraft. Each burst of gunfire was a testament to his skill and his resolve. In those moments, the tail gunner's duty was clear: to stand firm, to fight back, and to ensure that the bomber and its crew made it home safely. The fall, a desperate fight for survival. The attack on Rikki, Tikki, Tavi got worse. German fighters shot at the bomber with cannons and machine guns. The tail section where Moran was hit the hardest. With a loud roar and a big jolt, the tail section ripped off the plane. Moran was trapped, falling towards the earth very fast. The world spun as the tail section tumbled through the sky. Moran was thrown around, his body hurt and bruised. He held onto his guns, his only friends in the chaos.